Look, I'm going to be real with you for a second. Grocery prices are about to jump another 2.4% this year, and eggs alone have already skyrocketed 73%. But here's the thing, most people don't know. New tariffs are hitting our food supply hard, and July is when we're going to feel it the most. So if you're tired of watching your grocery bill eat your paycheck alive, you need to hear this. I'm about to show you exactly 30 products you should grab before July hits. And trust me, your future self is going to thank you for watching this video. Some of these might surprise you, but stick around because number 23 could literally save you hundreds of dollars. Let's dive in. Item 1. Canned tuna and salmon, your ocean insurance policy. Look, I totally get it. When someone mentions canned fish, your brain probably goes straight to that cheap, sketchy stuff your grandmother used to serve. But listen to this game-changing information. Safe Catch Elite Wild Tuna has the lowest mercury count of any brand on the market, making it actually safer for kids and pregnant women than most fresh fish. I mean, think about that for a second. You're getting cleaner protein from a can than from the fancy stuff at the fish counter. And here's where it gets really interesting. While fresh fish prices are going absolutely bonkers because of supply chain disruptions and fuel costs, these cans are still sitting pretty on grocery shelves at reasonable prices. I'm talking about grabbing at least 20 to 30 cans, and here's why that number matters. Each can gives you about 25 grams of complete protein. That's like having a backup steak dinner sitting in your pantry that never goes bad. Plus, canned salmon, sardines, mackerel, and tuna are all rich in those essential omega-3 oils your body desperately needs. Your brain, your heart, your joints. They're all going to thank you later. Item 2. Dried beans and lentils, the survival superheroes. Now this next one is going to sound crazy, but stick with me because the math is absolutely wild. You could literally survive for years on small daily amounts of beans combined with other basic staples. I'm not saying you should try this at home, but the protein power packed into these little guys is just insane. We're talking about foods that have kept entire civilizations alive for thousands of years. But here's what most people don't realize. Dried beans can last for years without losing their nutritional value when stored properly. I'm talking black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils, navy beans, the whole gang, and right now, they're still dirt cheap. You can grab a 5-pound bag for what you'd pay for one fast food meal. That bag? It's got enough protein to replace about 20 chicken breasts. The math is just crazy when you think about it like that. Plus, beans are like the Swiss Army knife of the food world. You can make chili, soups, salads, even burger patties. My neighbor Janet, she's been doing this for years. She told me she makes these amazing black bean burgers that taste better than the expensive frozen ones at the store. And she's saving probably 75% on her protein costs. Item 3. Peanut butter. This one's actually personal for me, and I'm going to get a little vulnerable here. When I was completely broke in college, like checking couch cushions for lunch money broke, peanut butter literally kept me alive. I'm not exaggerating. There were weeks when peanut butter sandwiches were my main source of protein. And you know what? I was probably healthier than half the people eating fancy restaurant meals. Nuts provide essential vitamins and minerals that your body needs to function properly. Plus, they're absolutely packed with protein and healthy fats. But here's the secret most people miss. You want the natural stuff, not the processed junk with all the added sugar and hydrogenated oils. The natural peanut butter might cost $1 or $2 more, but it lasts way longer and doesn't have all that weird chemical garbage that's going to mess with your body. And here's a pro tip that'll save you serious money. Buy the big containers from warehouse stores. You're looking at paying maybe 30 cents per serving versus $2 or $3 for the same amount of protein from meat. Plus, peanut butter has this amazing superpower. It makes you feel full. Like, really full. 2 tablespoons and you're satisfied for hours. Item 4. Eggs. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Dude, eggs are already expensive as hell. Why would I stock up on more? And I totally get that reaction. But here's the inside information that most people don't know. Farm-level egg prices are predicted to increase another 73% this year because of ongoing bird flu outbreaks. We're talking about $6 eggs potentially hitting $10 or $12 by the end of the year. So here's what smart people are doing right now. And this is going to sound a little crazy, but bear with me. If you can afford to grab 3 or 4 dozen eggs when they're on sale, you can actually freeze them. I know, it sounds weird, but you beat them up, pour them into ice cube trays or freezer bags, and boom, you've got eggs for months. Each cube is basically 1 egg, perfect for scrambling or baking. The crazy part is, over the entire bird flu period from 2022 to now, egg prices have risen 165%. Think about any other investment that's gone up 165% in 3 years. You'd be calling your financial advisor, right? Well, this is the same thing, except it's food you're actually going to eat. Item 5. Canned chicken and beef. Now this is where things get really real, and I need you to pay attention because this information could literally save your family during tough times. If you had to stockpile just one kind of food for survival, it should be meat, because meat provides around 90% of the sustenance humans need to survive. That's not me talking, that's nutrition science. I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but canned meats are basically your insurance policy against food insecurity. These cans can last for years and provide essential protein when fresh meat becomes unaffordable or unavailable. And right now, while everyone's focused on complaining about ground beef hitting $8 or $9 a pound, canned chicken is still sitting there at reasonable prices. Here's what blows my mind. 1 can of chicken gives you the same protein as about half a chicken breast, but costs maybe 2/3 the price and lasts literally years. You can make chicken salad, add it to pasta, throw it in soups, make quesadillas. My wife actually prefers canned chicken for chicken salad because it's already perfectly shredded and seasoned. Item 6. Protein powder. Okay, this next one might sound a little weird, but hear me out because the math is absolutely crazy. Protein supplements help assure adequate nutrition when regular food sources become limited or expensive. 1 container of decent protein powder can literally replace dozens of meals if money gets tight. But here's the part that really gets me excited. The space efficiency is just insane. 1 5-pound container takes up about as much room as 2 boxes of cereal, but it's got enough protein to replace maybe 40 chicken breasts. You could live in a tiny apartment and still have months of protein stored away. And before you start thinking this is just for gym bros and fitness fanatics, let me tell you about my 75-year-old neighbor Bob. He started using protein powder last year when his doctor told him he wasn't getting enough protein from regular food. Now he throws a scoop in his morning smoothie, and his energy levels are through the roof. Plus, he's saving probably $50 a week on his grocery bill. Item 7. Mixed nuts. Peanuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios provide essential vitamins and minerals your body needs, but here's what most people don't realize. They're also incredibly calorie-dense, which means they keep you satisfied way longer than most snacks. I'm talking about foods that ancient civilizations literally used as traveling rations because they're so nutrient-packed. Here's the money-saving secret. Buy those big containers from warehouse stores. Yeah, you might spend $15 or $20 up front, but you're getting nuts that would cost you probably $40 or $50 if you bought them in small packages. Plus, they're going to last you months, and they're way cheaper per pound than almost any other protein source. My family goes through about 2 pounds of mixed nuts a month just for snacking, and it's completely replaced our chip and cookie habit. The kids actually prefer them now, which honestly shocked me. And the best part? We're spending less money, and everyone's way healthier. Item 8. Powdered milk. Last but definitely not least, and this one's going to surprise you. Whole milk powder lasts up to 2 years and makes an excellent natural creamer for coffee. But that's just the beginning of why this stuff is absolute magic in your pantry. Think about this. Fresh milk costs, what, $4 or $5 a gallon now? And it goes bad in a week or two. Powdered milk costs maybe $8 and makes the equivalent of about 6 gallons of milk. Plus, it never goes bad if you store it properly. The math is just crazy when you break it down like that. But here's the part that really gets me excited. You can use powdered milk for baking, making yogurt, even making cheese if you're feeling adventurous. My grandmother used to make the most amazing pancakes with powdered milk, and honestly, they tasted better than anything I've had with fresh milk. And skip those nasty chemical coffee creamers that are basically just hydrogenated oils and corn syrup. This is the real deal. actual milk that's been dried. Your morning coffee routine stays intact even when everything else goes sideways, and you're not poisoning yourself with fake chemicals. Item 9. White rice. Here's something that'll blow your mind. White rice can literally last for decades if you store it right. We're talking 30 years, people. But here's the kicker that's keeping me up at night. Russia and Ukraine together control almost 30% of the world's grain exports. And guess what's still happening over there? Yeah, that war isn't slowing down, and it's messing with our food supply in ways most people don't even realize. I was talking to my neighbor Sarah last week, and she told me she's been buying those big 20-pound bags of rice every shopping trip. At first, I thought she was going overboard, But then she broke it down for me. When pasta costs $3 a box and feeds your family, maybe 2 meals, a huge bag of rice for $15 can literally feed your family for weeks. The math just makes sense. Plus, rice is like the ultimate blank canvas. You can make it savory with some broth, sweet with cinnamon, throw in some beans, and you've got a complete protein. It's basically the Swiss Army knife of your pantry. Now, here's the storage trick that changed my game completely. Don't just throw that bag in your pantry. Get yourself some airtight containers, maybe throw in a bay leaf to keep bugs away, and store it somewhere cool and dry. I learned this the hard way when I found some unwelcome visitors in my rice bag. Not fun? Trust me. Item 10. Oats. Oats can last years past their expiration date, and let me tell you why this matters right now. With cereal and breakfast costs going through the roof, a container of oats becomes like liquid gold. But here's what I love about oats. They're not just for boring oatmeal anymore. Overnight, oats are having a moment for a reason. You literally just mix them with milk or yogurt the night before, add some fruit, and boom. Breakfast is ready when you wake up. My kids used to turn their noses up at oatmeal, but then I started making oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips, and suddenly oats were cool again. You can throw them in smoothies for thickness, make granola bars, even grind them up to make oat flour for baking. And get this, oats are actually really nutritious, packed with fiber that keeps you full longer. So while everyone else is spending $6 on a tiny box of cereal that's gone in 3 days, you're feeding your family for weeks on a $4 container of oats. Item 11. Pasta varieties. Oh man, pasta. This one hits different because tariffs are specifically hitting imports from Italy and other countries. That fancy pasta you love from the Italian section? Yeah, it's about to get really expensive, really fast. But here's the thing about pasta. It's comfort food that stores like a dream and can turn the simplest ingredients into a real meal. I'm not saying go crazy and buy 50 boxes of every shape imaginable. Be smart about it. Think about what your family actually eats. If your kids only eat spaghetti and mac and cheese, don't stockpile penny just because it's on sale. But do grab extra of the shapes you know you'll use. Spaghetti is obviously the classic, but I always keep penny around because it holds sauce really well, and shells are great for pasta salads when you want something different. Here's a pro tip from my Italian friend Maria. When you're buying pasta in bulk, check the cooking times on the boxes. Some brands cook way faster than others, and when you're trying to feed hungry kids, those extra few minutes matter. Also, whole wheat pasta lasts just as long as regular pasta, and honestly, once you mix it with sauce, most people can't tell the difference. Your future self will thank you for the extra nutrition. Item 12. Flour. All-purpose and whole wheat. Here's where I get a little emotional, honestly. Flour, sugar, baking powder, and baking soda are the 4 ingredients that can literally save your budget. My grandmother lived through the Depression, and she always said, if you can bake bread, you can feed your family. I used to think that was old-fashioned thinking, but then 2020 happened. And suddenly everyone was fighting over flour in the grocery stores. With bread prices, what they are now, have you seen what a decent loaf costs? Learning to bake isn't just a hobby anymore. It's basically a survival skill. A bag of flour can make dozens of loaves of bread, pancakes, cookies, pizza dough. The possibilities are endless. And there's something really satisfying about making bread from scratch. Your house smells amazing. Your family thinks you're a kitchen wizard, and you're saving serious money. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have time to bake bread. But here's the secret. You don't need to be fancy about it. Even just knowing how to make simple pancakes from scratch instead of buying those expensive mixes can save you money and give your family a better breakfast. Plus, when you store flour properly in airtight containers, it can last for years. Just remember to get both all-purpose and whole wheat. All-purpose for your everyday baking. Whole wheat for when you want to feel good about giving your family extra nutrition. Item 13. Quinoa. Look, I know quinoa sounds all fancy and expensive, but hear me out. This stuff is basically a complete protein that lasts forever. When you're thinking long-term nutrition, quinoa gives you what your body actually needs. It's like rice's overachiever cousin. It's got all the amino acids your body needs, it's gluten-free if that matters to your family, and it cooks up fluffy and light. I used to think quinoa was just trendy health food nonsense until my doctor told me I needed to eat more protein without loading up on meat all the time. 1 cup of cooked quinoa has like 8 grams of protein and keeps you full for hours. You can use it anywhere you'd use rice, throw it in soups, make it the base for grain bowls, even use it in salads. My kids call it tiny rice, and they actually prefer it to regular rice now because it has more flavor and texture. The best part? When stored in airtight containers in a cool, dry place, quinoa can last for years. So yeah, it might cost a bit more upfront than rice, but when you break down the nutrition per dollar, it's actually a pretty good deal. Plus, a little goes a long way. 1 cup of dry quinoa turns into about 3 cups cooked, so those bags last longer than you think. Item 14. Bread. Freeze what you can. Bread will last you through at least a few days to 2 weeks depending on storage, but throw it in the freezer and you're golden. Here's what nobody tells you about bread. When it goes on sale for like $1 a loaf, that's when you strike. Buy 6 loaves, keep 1 out for this week, and freeze the other 5. Future, you will literally want to hug past you. But here's the trick to freezing bread properly. Don't just throw the whole loaf in there. Slice it first if it's not already sliced, then wrap it really well in plastic wrap or put it in freezer bags. When you need bread, you can just take out a few slices at a time and toast them straight from frozen. Or if you need a whole loaf, just let it thaw on the counter for a few hours and it's like fresh bread again. I learned this the hard way when I found 3 loaves of moldy bread in my pantry because I thought I'd eat them faster than I did. Now I have a system. 1 loaf in the bread box, 4 in the freezer, and I rotate them as needed. Different types of bread have different shelf lives too. Denser breads like whole grain last longer than fluffy white bread. So if you're planning ahead, those heartier loaves are your friend. Item 15. Crackers. Crackers need to go in airtight containers the second you open them, and this is where a lot of people mess up. You know that disappointing feeling when you open a sleeve of crackers and they're all stale and gross? That's because moisture is crackers' worst enemy. But here's why crackers are actually genius to stockpile. These aren't just snacks, people. When everything else runs out, crackers with peanut butter can keep your kids happy and fed. They're like edible peace treaties. I keep different types. Saltines for when someone's sick, Ritz for snacking, whole grain ones for when I want to feel healthy about my choices. The real game changer is buying those big variety packs and immediately transferring everything into proper storage containers. Yeah, it's a pain when you first get home from the store, but 3 months later, when you're pulling out perfectly crisp crackers, you'll be so glad you did it. Crackers are also great because they're shelf-stable, don't need cooking, and can turn a can of soup into an actual meal. Item 16. Cereal. This one's tricky because cereal doesn't last as long as other stuff, but ready-to-eat cereals are perfect for quick meals when you don't have power or time to cook. And with food prices predicted to keep climbing, that $6 box of cereal might be $8 by Christmas. The key is being strategic about which cereals you stockpile. Skip the sugary stuff that goes stale fast, and focus on cereals that are actually filling. Things like Cheerios, Chex, granola-type cereals, they last longer and can pull double duty. You can eat them for breakfast, obviously, but you can also use them in recipes. Crushed-up Cheerios make great breading for chicken. Granola cereals are perfect for homemade trail mix. And let's be honest, sometimes cereal for dinner is exactly what your family needs on a crazy busy night. Item 17. Canned vegetables. So here's something that'll blow your mind. The USDA just predicted that vegetables from Mexico, like tomatoes, peppers, and basically half the produce section, could see massive price jumps because of the new tariffs. I'm talking about the stuff you use every single day. But here's your lifeline. Canned vegetables. And I'm not talking about that mushy stuff from the 90s. Brands like Libby's are packing mixed vegetables with peas, carrots, corn, lima beans, and green beans all in one can. It's like having a complete side dish ready to go, and the price hasn't caught up to fresh yet. Item 18. Canned fruits. Listen, fresh berries are already costing more than premium gas per gallon. Juice prices are going up because of citrus greening and hurricane damage to our domestic crops. But canned fruits? They're still reasonable, and honestly, they last forever. Pro tip: get the ones in juice, not syrup. Your future self will thank you when you're making smoothies or need something sweet without breaking the bank. Item 19. Tomato sauce and paste. This one's huge, and here's why. Tomatoes are one of those imports from Mexico that could get hit hard by tariffs. We're talking about the base of probably 70% of your dinners. Pasta sauce, pizza, soups, you name it. Stock up on tomato paste especially. That little can is basically concentrated flavor gold, and it turns into sauce, soup base, or even ketchup if you know what you're doing. Item 20. Cooking oils. Okay, this one's been quietly creeping up on us. When gas prices rise, food costs follow, and we've seen diesel fuel increase 14% since 2020. That affects everything from farm equipment to the trucks bringing your food to stores. But cooking oil? You literally can't cook without it. Grab vegetable oil, olive oil if you can swing it, and maybe some coconut oil. These things don't go bad quickly, and you use them in everything. Item 21. Vinegar. I know. Vinegar sounds boring. But this stuff is like the Swiss Army knife of your pantry. Smart preppers know that vinegar helps preserve other foods and extends shelf life. Plus, it's dirt cheap right now. Use it for salad dressings, cleaning your produce, even cleaning your house. It's basically liquid gold that costs vinegar. Item 22, salt and sugar. Here's something wild. Both salt and sugar can literally last forever because they can't support bacterial growth. Like, your great-grandkids could use the salt you buy today. Sugar and sweets prices are expected to jump 3.4% this year, so now's the time. And salt? You need it for everything. Cooking, preserving, even melting ice if you live somewhere cold. Item 23. Spices and herbs. This is the one I mentioned earlier that could save you hundreds. Think about it. When money gets tight, people stop eating out, right? But if your home cooking tastes like cardboard, you're going to crack and order takeout anyway. Good spices and herbs can make stockpiled rice and beans taste like a restaurant meal. I'm talking cumin, paprika, garlic powder, oregano, the basics that turn boring into delicious. When stored properly in a cool, dry place, spices keep their potency for years. Item 24. Honey. Last but definitely not least, honey. And here's the crazy part about honey. It literally never spoils. Like, never. Scientists have found edible honey in ancient Egyptian tombs. It's nature's sugar, it's got antibacterial properties, and it makes everything taste better. Coffee, tea, baking, even sore throats. Plus, while regular sugar prices are climbing, honey prices haven't caught up yet. Item 25. Coffee and tea. Listen, I don't care if you think coffee is just a luxury. It's not. Coffee prices are expected to spike significantly in 2025 due to higher global coffee prices. And let me tell you something. When people can't get their morning caffeine fix, things get ugly real quick. I learned this the hard way during the last shortage. My neighbor literally knocked on my door at 6 a.m. asking if I had any instant coffee. Any. The guy was desperate. Stock up on both ground coffee and instant. Instant lasts way longer and doesn't need electricity to make. Same goes for tea bags. They're cheap now, but they won't be forever. Item 26. Sports drinks. Now, you might be thinking, sports drinks, really? But here's what happened to my buddy Jake last summer. Power went out for 4 days during a heat wave. No AC, sweating constantly, and all he had was tap water. By day 2, he felt awful, dizzy, weak, the whole deal. Sports drinks aren't just for athletes, folks. When you're stressed, not eating normally, or dealing with hot weather and no power, your body needs those electrolytes. The electrolytes and carbohydrates in sports drinks can help you stay hydrated and replenish fluids when water is scarce. Grab the ones without too much sugar. Your body will thank you later. Item 27. Canned coconut milk. Okay, this one's gonna blow your mind. Coconut milk will help you cook rice faster, and it's available on the bottom shelves of your grocery store. Most people walk right past it, but this stuff is liquid gold. You can use it for cooking rice without wasting your drinking water. It adds incredible flavor to basically everything, and it lasts forever on the shelf. Plus, if you're lactose intolerant or just run out of regular milk, boom, problem solved. I started using this stuff 6 months ago, and now I keep at least 10 cans on hand at all times. Item 28. Broths and stocks. Here's something your grandmother knew that we've somehow forgotten. Vegetable, beef, or chicken stock can help you cook rice without depleting your drinking water. But it's so much more than that. When fresh food is scarce, a good broth can turn boring rice or pasta into an actual meal. It's got nutrients, it's comforting, and honestly, when you're stressed and tired, sometimes a warm cup of broth is exactly what your body needs. Don't go cheap here. Get the good stuff with real ingredients. Item 29. Baking essentials. This might sound old-fashioned, but trust me on this. Baking has 4 main ingredients: flour, sugar, baking powder, and baking soda. When grocery stores are picked clean, guess what? You can still make bread, pancakes, even cookies. During the early pandemic, my sister was one of the only people in her neighborhood who could make fresh bread. Why? Because she had these 4 simple ingredients. Her kids were eating warm homemade bread while everyone else was fighting over the last loaf at the store. These ingredients last forever and they're dirt cheap right now. Item 30. Chocolate, the morale booster. Last but definitely not least, chocolate. And before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Not only does chocolate pack loads of antioxidants, but it's a morale booster that could prove essential during stressful times. I'm talking about real chocolate here. High-quality dark chocolate that can actually boost heart health. When everything feels uncertain and stressful, sometimes a piece of good chocolate is what keeps you sane. My dad always said, happy people make better decisions, and you know what? He was right. Dark chocolate can last several years if stored properly away from heat and light. So grab some good bars, not the cheap stuff with weird ingredients, and tuck them away. Trust me. Future, you will be so grateful you did. All right, now that we've covered all 30 items, let me share some storage secrets that'll make sure none of this goes to waste. Okay, here's where most people mess up. They buy all this stuff, and then half of it goes bad because they stored it wrong. Don't be that person. First rule. Store everything in cool, dry places away from direct sunlight. I'm talking basements, closets, under beds, anywhere that stays consistently cool. Heat is your enemy here. Second, wrap everything in airtight containers to protect from pests. I learned this the hard way when I found bugs in my rice. Now everything goes into sealed containers the moment I get home. Those big plastic storage bins from the dollar store? Perfect. And here's the genius part. Rotate your stock by using older items first. I call it shop from your pantry first. Every week, I plan meals around what I already have before I buy anything new. This isn't just smart. It literally saves me about $50 every month. Budget tight? No problem. Add just a few extra items to your weekly grocery list. I started with an extra $10 per week. That's it. 1 extra bag of rice, an extra can of beans. Focus on sales and use coupons. In 3 months, I had a solid stockpile without breaking the bank. Listen, I need to say this. We're not talking about hoarding here. Stockpiling is not the same thing as hoarding. We're talking about being smart and prepared. Start small, okay? Pick 5 items from this list and grab 1 extra each time you shop. Check those expiration dates and don't buy anything that's close to expiring. This isn't about clearing shelves. It's about gradually building security for your family. Here's the thing. I wish someone had told me this stuff 5 years ago. I used to stress every time prices went up, every time there was talk of shortages. Now, I sleep better knowing my family's covered, and if this video helped you feel more prepared and saved you some money, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'm constantly researching ways to beat inflation and stretch your dollar further. Next week, I'm showing you how to turn these stockpile items into 15 different meals that actually taste amazing. Plus, I've got a follow-up video coming on the 3 biggest mistakes people make when stockpiling that can literally waste hundreds of dollars. You don't want to miss that one. Stay smart, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next video.